It is 1961, and you are just a regular kid in a gray city where every adult whispers like the wallpaper has ears. You collect bottle caps, dodge homework, and think spies are only in cheap comic books. Then one day, you notice the same black car parked outside your building 3 mornings in a row. Years later, you are older, sharper, and still too curious for your own good. A stranger in a cafe slides into the booth and orders tea he never drinks. He says your language skills are useful, your memory is excellent, and your face is beautifully forgettable. Somehow that is meant as a compliment. Training is nothing like the movies. There are no laser watches, no exploding pens, and absolutely nobody teaches you to jump through windows gracefully. Mostly you learn to observe, remember, stay calm, and lie convincingly while looking like a person who has never lied in their life. Your first assignment sounds simple. Walk through a park, sit on a bench, and leave a tiny message where nobody will notice. Your heart is performing an entire drum solo. A pigeon could look at you funny, and you would probably confess to 3 countries. Soon, your life becomes a parade of windows, reflections, newspapers, and suspicious hats. You learn that surveillance is mostly boredom with sudden panic sprinkled on top. You stare across the street for 6 hours, then miss the target because you sneeze into your sleeve at exactly the wrong second. At night, you sit beside a radio that crackles like it is trying to cough up secrets. Numbers come through the static in a calm voice. To everyone else, it sounds meaningless. To you, it is tomorrow's danger report, wrapped in noise, delivered straight into your headphones. Then comes the train station handoff. Hundreds of people, steam everywhere, footsteps echoing, and one briefcase that should not look important but somehow looks like the most important object on Earth. You swap bags with a man who does not even slow down. For 5 seconds, you feel brilliant. The brilliance lasts until the border checkpoint. A guard studies your papers, then studies your face, then studies your papers again, as if hoping they will start arguing with each other. You smile politely. Your brain, meanwhile, has packed its bags and moved to another continent. At night, you realize someone is following you. Not in a dramatic trenchcoat way. Worse, in a normal, careful, professional way. You turn corners, pause at shop windows, and pretend to compare shoes while your stomach quietly files a complaint with upper management. You reach the safe house and lift a loose floorboard, finding documents, spare cash, and a tiny photo of someone you were told never to ask about. Safe houses are supposed to make you feel safe. This one mostly makes you wonder how many people have hidden here before you and why they stopped. The next mission is inside an office after hours. You photograph documents under a weak lamp while every floorboard seems personally committed to betraying you. The camera clicks softly, but in your ears it sounds like a marching band falling down a staircase. A guard appears. You dive behind a filing cabinet and discover the glamorous spy life includes dust, old gum, and trying not to breathe like a broken accordion. He stops close enough for you to see his shoes. You silently promise to become a farmer if you survive the next 10 seconds. Your handler meets you on a park bench, both of you holding newspapers you are not reading. He tells you the information is bigger than expected. He also tells you to act natural, which is cruel advice, because nobody in the history of panic has become natural after being told to do so. Then the paranoia really begins. There may be a double agent inside your network. Every smile becomes suspicious. Every friendly hello sounds rehearsed. You start wondering if your neighbor knows too much, which is difficult because your neighbor mostly talks about soup. A warning arrives. Your cover might be exposed. You burn a note in an ashtray and watch the paper curl into black flakes. It feels dramatic for about 2 seconds until the smoke alarm squeaks and you spend the next minute waving a towel like a guilty hotel guest. By midnight, the street outside is crawling with men who are definitely not there for a friendly chat. You climb a fire escape, cross a rooftop, and learn an important truth. Spies in movies sprint beautifully, but real spies wheeze and regret every pastry they have ever eaten. You escape on a night bus full of sleepy strangers. Nobody knows that the exhausted person in the back seat is carrying information that could embarrass powerful governments. A baby stares at you with deep suspicion, and honestly, the baby has excellent instincts. In a hidden room, you and your team decode the message. The map fills with pins and string until it looks like a spider tried to solve politics. The conclusion is ugly. A secret operation is about to happen, and you are the unlucky person close enough to stop it. Your next cover is an embassy party, which means smiling at diplomats while pretending tiny sandwiches are a normal dinner. You hide microfilm near a flower arrangement, make small talk about weather, and nearly blow everything because someone asks your opinion on opera. Then, disaster almost strikes. The microfilm slips, bounces off a plate, and nearly lands in soup. For one terrible second, world history depends on whether a waiter notices a tiny secret floating beside a carrot. You recover it with a napkin and pretend this was normal table behavior. At midnight, you wait on an empty subway platform. The tiles are cold, the lights buzz overhead, and every distant rumble sounds like either a train or doom with wheels. Your contact is late. In spy work, late can mean traffic, betrayal, arrest, or someone forgot their watch. The final exchange happens on a bridge at dawn. Mist rolls over the river. Two sides approach from opposite ends, each pretending this is civilized. Nobody says much. The briefcase changes hands, and for a moment the whole Cold War feels balanced on one nervous little walkway. You are caught before you can disappear. In a bare room, a serious man asks questions he already thinks he knows the answers to. You keep your story boring, painfully boring, heroically boring. It turns out boredom can be armor, and your greatest weapon is sounding like an accountant. Just when your boring accountant act starts running out of numbers, your handler creates a distraction outside. A door opens. You run through rain, down an alley, and into a waiting car. Nobody cheers. Real escapes are mostly slamming doors, wet socks, and someone yelling at the driver. The debriefing room is warm, quiet, and full of people who say "well done" without smiling. The information you carried prevents a crisis that most citizens will never hear about. That is the strange reward of secret history. If you succeed, almost nobody knows you existed. Your handler gives you one final warning. The job changes you. You start reading rooms before menus, exits before signs, and people before words. You can leave the service, but the habit of noticing everything does not politely pack a suitcase and go with it. Years pass. The world changes. The walls come down. New leaders make new speeches, and old secrets become dusty files. You hang up the coat, the hat, and the version of yourself that could walk into danger while pretending to be annoyed about bus schedules. Civilian life is harder than expected. You go to the grocery store and accidentally analyze the cereal aisle like it is a hostile border zone. Someone reaches for cornflakes and you clock their shoes, posture, and possible escape route. You are retired, but your brain did not get the memo. One rainy afternoon, you open a box of old objects. A camera, a fake passport, coded notes you are finally allowed to admit existed. Each item looks small, almost silly, but everyone carried a piece of fear, courage, and the weird paperwork of history. Then a young relative finds your old hat and asks if you were really a spy. You pause, smile, and say you once had a very unusual office job. They laugh, but you know the truth. In the Cold War, some of the loudest moments in history happened in whispers.